Mawiage.
Good evening, Nice Guy Eddie back talking weapons. Tonight, I want to tell you about a couple of Tomahawks that I have. This is the first one. These were bought, again, as souvenirs, although we'll talk about why they're not exactly wall hangers, even though they're not exactly functional either. Partially functional, if you will. I bought these on my honeymoon in 1999. We honeymooned in Arizona. We went to the Grand Canyon, we went to Sedona, also spent, I think, a night or a day in Phoenix and Scottsdale. But the Grand Canyon and Sedona was the bulk of the trip. Elephant in the room, I have said many times in previous videos, my then girlfriend or then fiance, soon to be future ex-wife, and about 4 years ago, yes, that marriage did end in divorce. Since there's not this is going to be a relatively short video, not a whole lot to say about the weapons. I will say this, however, if you are going through a divorce, trust me, this too shall pass, and in the long run, though it may take some time, you will both be happier. So, take my word for that. Anyway, in the American Southwest, especially in the northeastern portion of Arizona, the Hopi Indian tribe and the Navajo Indian tribe were very prominent there at various points in history. Of course, not so much now, I get it, but there's still a lot of tourism based on that. We did go out to a couple of archaeological sites, Hopi cave dwellings and whatnot. Those were very interesting. And so following in the tradition of buying weapons like from Spain and Thailand and Bali and places that I've been, I decided that I would buy something reminiscent of the American Southwest, particularly the Hopi and Navajo tribes. And so what I ended up buying, there were a pair of Tomahawks. Now these were not a match set, I just happened to have two of them. This one was done by a local craftsman. It was done by an actual Navajo craftsman, however not a registered one, so I don't have a tag or number or any kind of authenticity on this. Tail of the tape, because it is, I would say, I've said a semi-functional weapon, 1 pound 9 ounces, shaft is 24 inches long, cutting surface on the blade is 4 inches. It has this brass beaded stud work up and down the shaft, hardwood shaft, and a ferrous, I believe steel, axe head. Once the settlers came over, metal axe heads started becoming more prominent, so talking like 18th century at that point. And this one has a strand of horsehair at the top. Also, it's a really cool leather braided strap or handle. Strap, I guess you'd say. Leather braided wrist strap, maybe. Put that around there, and you can hear that, I hope. And that is not my beautiful edge alignment. What that is, of course, the horsehair whistling through the air. Now, I say semi-functional. It's a steel axe head. It has a pretty decent profile on it. If I wanted to take this to a grindstone or take this to a sharpener, I could get it sharpened and I could have a decent hand weapon. Haven't really done that. Two reasons. I don't know how well this is attached to the shaft. Seems pretty strong, but I don't know how much it would take in terms of slamming into things. The other thing is that while the shaft is hard wood, I mean there's no flexibility to it, it doesn't seem cheap, I don't actually know what kind of wood it is and I don't know how much abuse it would take. So, well, you know, want to preserve it. It has more sentimental value than really, you know, actual utility. Again, marriage may have ended, but this does come from my honeymoon. It was a trip that I really enjoyed. It's part of the country I love. I've been back there many times on business, so. And again, as I say, partially functional weapon in terms of could absolutely sharpen that edge and make it into a weapon. This is not the kind of thing you would chop wood with. Again, axe profiles for battle axes are not so good at splitting logs or anything like that. Kindling and, you know. Anyway, could be made to be useful in that. Now that one, it was not a licensed craftsman. I want to say I paid $85, $90, less than $100 for it. Honestly, we'll take one more look at it. I almost looked at it and it just seemed so, it didn't necessarily scream Native American. It was, it could be just sort of from any culture that uses hand axes. It is a, replica Native, or, well, actual Native American tomahawk. But, again, with the stud work and everything, to me it was just sort of a cool piece that caught my eye. But the main souvenir from the trip was actually this piece. Whoops. You know it's COVID when like random masks are just like stuck to things. Was this piece here. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so you can see it. This, Very beautiful piece. This is a work of art. Again, wall hanger but in a much less derisive sense of the word. Completely leather wrapped, hand painted. Also the stud work. It's got this beaded handle, which is turquoise, and I'm not sure what the black colored beads are. And then of course just all the bead work and feather work. There's a strap that it hangs from like that, and you know, the horsehair. It's just beautiful. And this is something that could have a function. It actually has two functions. It's a tomahawk, but it's also a peace pipe. And so the fitting on the mouthpiece on this side is brass. The head of the axe is brass, but I'm going to bring this close again so you can see that little blade there. This little edge piece here is steel. So it has a steel blade set inside the brass head. Now this is not sharp at the moment, but it could be made to be, well, it's steel. You can grind it down to a razor's edge and you'll have, again, a functional weapon. This piece is less functional than the other one. Again, the weight of it and the fact that it's a peace pipe, the weapon aspect, I think, is more meant to be somewhat symbolic. However, 1 pound 2 ounces, 2.5-inch cutting blade if you were to sharpen it, and 20-inch overall length. This piece was made by a Navajo craftsman who was a licensed craftsman. I've left the tag on it there, so it has his name, it has you know, the number of the piece and all of that. So really nice piece. Just has always been one of the favorites of mine. Now let me think about this now, because it seems to me that here I am talking about how these weapons have, or these tools I should say, or weapons, have semi-functionality. Unlike, they're not like the El Cid swords. You know, you can actually do something with these. So let's say we go outside and we do a little bit of a functional demonstration. What? Oh, you were expecting, no. This piece, in fact, has two functions, and while it's not such a great tomahawk, I mean, the steel piece not being sharpened at all, I must admit, it does smoke rather nicely. If you're finding these videos interesting, like and subscribe. Next week, we're going to be talking about a ceremonial dagger that I brought back from a trip to Cancun. It's Mayan in nature. Until then, happy 420 and take care.